Hi guys, happy Tuesday. Here we are for our oil class of the week, which is going to be women and oils. So the topic we're going to cover, all the ways that we can as women support some of our unique challenges, but also some of the things that are just general to all of us as we age gracefully and do our best to support our bodies through that process, and then look a little bit again at the sort of things that are unique to us as women. So, but I always like to start a class with the basics. So a baseline understanding of what oils are and what they're not, and really what to look for when you're looking for a quality oil, because a lot of the things that I'm going to share about, the ways that oils can support our body, that only holds true for oils that have a certain, quality and purity to them. That's how they're effective. That's how they work best in the body. And without that constitution, they're really not going to work for us the way we're hoping. So I'd like to start off with what essential oils are and what they're not. So essential oils are an aromatic compound, usually a distillation of the plant matter, but it could be the bark, the stem, the leaf, the root, could be any part of that plant, or it could be a combination of a few things, a few parts of the plant. And I said sometimes it's a steam distillation. A lot of the times that's the case. It could be the press of a rind. So for example, most of the citrus are a press of the rind. And so what it's not is a oil in the traditional sense of an olive oil or a coconut oil, which tends to be more of a press of a seed or some other part of that plant. So they're not oily in texture. Again, they're an aromatic compound. They are very light and tend to evaporate quickly. They're very small, tiny molecules, which is why, again, they work really well within our body, because they absorb and they can travel to places that a lot of substances cannot because of their molecular size. So that's a little bit about what the oils are or what they're not. And I always like to start too with 3 cool things about doTERRA essential oils. So the first thing is that they are 100% pure and natural. And when I say that, that means that when you get that bottle, it is purely the plant material inside. There's nothing else. There's no synthetics, no fillers, nothing else that compromises the quality of the oil. And there is testing that supports all of that. And we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But so 100% safe and natural, and really without side effects, right? So a lot of traditional remedies that we take for, say, indigestion or a headache come with side effects and or an addiction factor, right? There's a lot of over-the-counter medications and things that create really serious addictions for people, and that's not the case with oils. They work synergistically with the body, and we were designed to use plants for food and for medicine. That's, we are nature, and we are meant to use nature to keep that balance, that harmonious balance. And the only reason that we tend to get offside with our wellness is because of the environmental impacts, right? The things that we either ingest, the food that we take in, sometimes if that's, too much processed food, or just our environment, which can be toxic. So anything from, the furniture that you bring into your home that off-gasses, or, just the pollution in the air and our water supply, and all of those things really compromise our ability to have true wellness within ourselves and within our bodies. But we can do a lot to sort of reduce that toxic load, and using the essential oils to support your wellness really can go a long way to be able to do it naturally, and I said without side effects and addictions. Some would say I might be addicted to my essential oils, but in a very good way. So the other thing about essential oils is the efficacy, and I talked a little bit about the molecular structure and how they're very tiny molecules. And in fact, there are some oils, so like a frankincense, that has the ability to cross the blood blood-brain barrier, which doesn't often happen with a lot of substances. So again, the oils have the ability to travel quickly through our system and impact us in a very positive way, and often more effective than a traditional option. And when you think about even the difference too between the doTERRA oils and other oils, there is a difference in effectiveness. And I spoke, I just said that you really have to understand the testing and the quality of those oils to make sure that what you're getting is 100% pure, or the efficacy is not there. And then oils are very cost effective. And I know, if you're pricing out a bottle of frankincense and it's, $80, it might seem very expensive. But when you price it out per drop, it's very reasonable considering what you would pay for a traditional remedy. And frankincense is unique in that way, but you can get, a bottle of citrus oil that's like $12, which works out to about 5 cents a drop. And that makes a wonderful addition to water for cleansing. Lemon is amazing to use as a household cleanser. There's just so many applications for the oils. So again, you can have just a few oils in your collection and do so many things with them that it is more cost effective. And even something as simple as an earache, for example, where you may have to go to the doctors to get it checked out and you've got a copay, and then they'll prescribe some sort of drop or topical application. And what you can do is use a few drops of tea tree and lavender for that earache, and often that will do the trick, and that would maybe cost you 60 cents. And so really, it's about being your own advocate for your health and wellness, and looking for those natural solutions as a first protocol. So it's not to say that Western medicine, doesn't have a place, and there aren't times that you don't need a prescription or something else, but it's really to say, in the first instance, try something more natural, something that has the ability to work with your body to solve sort of the root cause, instead of a lot of the things that just tend to cover up or sort of maybe mask the symptoms, but don't actually get to the heart of the issue. And that's where the oils by design are meant to create a sense of balance and homeostasis in the body. So there's 3 ways to use our oils: aromatically, topically, and internally. And aromatically is probably the place that most people start. So a lot of people are, very well versed with diffusers now. They're sort of pretty common. And I'm grateful for that, because a lot of the traditional air fresheners and things that we plug into the wall and that are really just synthetic fragrance, which is really toxic to our environment and to ourselves. And so it's great to see an uptake in the diffusers, which really is then cleansing the air with just water and these pure essential oils. The other beautiful thing about using them aromatically is that you can actually impact your mood and elevate your mood from aromatic inhalation. And there's obviously when you inhale something like that, you have the olfactory system is so close to your brain that the impact is almost instantaneous. So just being able to pop off the lid, and so this one, this is adaptive, so this is an emotional support blend created for actually calming and anxiety. And just to be able to really take the cap off and do a great big inhale of this. Yes, it helps your wife sleep too. Thank you, Chris. It's true. There's so many great benefits to the inhalation with the oils. So creating mood and a sense of calm, but also can be invigorating. So something like a peppermint or a wild orange, being able to inhale those can also be super uplifting and emotionally supportive. So there's so many great applications for the oils aromatically. And if we look at using them topically, again, your skin is your largest organ. And so whatever you're putting onto your skin, you really need to be cognizant of what that is. And then again, bringing those toxins into your system if you're not 100% sure what you're sort of putting on your skin. And a lot of people miss that. They think, it's only what we eat. that matters, but it really it goes a long way when you're careful with what you use for your skincare. And so being able to use oils topically, not just for, sort of soothing skin, but also for, sort of bug bites. So I seem to have thought I was out dancing the mosquitoes on Saturday night at our canal sing, and I was sadly mistaken that I was not moving fast enough and didn't apply enough of my Terror Shield, my bug repellent, and I got quite a few bites. So I made myself a little concoction with the oils, using some tea tree, some lemon, peppermint, and lavender, and the three of those act sort of like an antihistamine together to take out the itch. So I've been sort of lathering in that for the last couple of days, trying not to scratch myself. So, but certainly there's a trick for everything, and it's as easy as having the app, right? So I've got the Essential Life app, and I've got some of the books and reference tools, and it was exactly that. I'm like, I don't know what else to put on these bug bites. I could always use lavender as a go-to, but they were pretty significant. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna see what else I can blend together. And there, sure enough, was a recipe for the anti-itch option. So I went with that, and it's been working great. So again, having a few oils at my disposal, I didn't need to have any separate sort of cortisol cream or whatever. I didn't need a separate itch remedy. I used the same oils that I would have used for 10 different things. So topical application, when I made that concoction, so I would have diluted it with a carrier oil. And when we talk about a carrier oil, that can be anything. It can be the fractionated coconut oil, it could be olive oil, jojoba, rosehip, sweet almond, like whatever you like to put on your skin and how you want to apply it. We usually suggest the fractionated coconut oil, mainly because it has removed some of the fats in it, and so then it becomes room temperature stable, so liquid at room temperature, and also is shelf life stable. So that one makes a really great all-purpose one to be able to dilute, because some of the oils, so something like a cinnamon or oregano, more of the spice oils are spicy and can be hot to the skin or irritating to the skin. And so when you dilute them, that really helps, not only with that sensitivity, but also from a surface area perspective. So because the oils are aromatic, and I said they will evaporate quite quickly, using the carrier oil then helps bring the oils into the skin. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get them into the body. So that's the topical application. Something like a Digest Zen, so a digestive blend, you can also use topically. So if you have an upset stomach, you have kids that are car sick, you have anything like that, or just general indigestion from, I tend to not react well to spicy food, so I always have my Digest Zen on hand for that. And you can apply that topically a little bit on the palm of your hand with some carrier oil and literally just rub it over the tummy. It also comes in a capsule, so you could take it that way as well. But so many great ways to use the oils topically for skincare. I said for indigestion, and also something like a turmeric oil, which would be really great for joints. And we have the Deep Blue Rub, which is a muscle rub made of a lovely cooling wintergreen with also some chamomile, part of the chamomile family, so the blue tansy flower, and that's then calming and relaxing to the muscles. So many different ways to use the oils topically as well. And then there's the internal application, and the internal application is one that tends to get a little bit of mispress, if you will, or there's sort of two camps to that, and that's really based on the fact that there are so many companies out there trying to do essential oils now, because of the increased sort of popularity, and I say that only in the Western side of the world, because oils have been used for thousands of years in Eastern medicine. So in the Chinese culture and the Indian cultures and the Egyptian cultures, they've been using the oils for thousands of years, and we're just a little slow on the uptake here. And so now it's become very popular, because of those things. They're effective. They don't come with the side effects. They are cost effective. There's so many great reasons to incorporate these into your life. And so everybody's sort of jumping on the bandwagon to create essential oils. The problem is it's not something that's easily done. It's a very delicate process. It takes the right soil conditions, the right growing conditions, the right harvesting, the right distillation, and then a series of quality tests to really get the right oil into the bottle and, sort of to your door. And that is where doTERRA excels in terms of their relationships with the farmers. They do this concept called co-impact sourcing, and it's so important to the quality of the plant material that we get, but also to the impact of those communities, because doTERRA, commits to those communities. There's this relationship whereby, they want the best plant material, and they know that in order to do that, they're gonna have to really look after these communities. And they do so by going in and doing the school projects and the water projects and making sure that that community thrives. And they pay those farmers on average 5 times what they would normally get through another distribution channel. So most essential oil companies, or those that are labeling and bottling oils, are simply using a broker. And so they really don't know the source of the oils. And what happens is through that supply chain where you've got a broker and different, the oils changing hands through, is there are opportunities for dilution, for things to happen, into synthetics to get introduced. So it really is important that you control the supply chain to really know what you're getting. And then doTERRA does all kinds of amazing tests on the oils, different levels, looking for the chemical constituents, looking for purities and impurities, looking for that particular marker that tells them that that is the right lavender. So for example, lavender has 32% linalool by standard, that doTERRA says that if it's going to be an effective lavender, that's where that baseline needs to be. So they do the testing to make sure that that's what you're getting in the bottle. And your comfort is that on the bottom of the bottle, there's a little code. And when you go to the Source to You website, which is doTERRA's sourcing website, you can punch in the code and it will tell you everything you want to know about that particular oil. So where it was harvested, when it was harvested, how it was distilled, the bottling, and all the quality testing and the chemical constituents of that oil. So it's pretty amazing to see the transparency with the oils. So all of that to say that when you are going to internally use oils, it's critical to understand where those oils come from. And the people that say you should never ingest oils because they don't know doTERRA oils. doTERRA oils are actually meant to be taken internally. That is one of the most effective ways to be able to utilize the oils. And that is why the medical universities and the hospitals and all of the medical practitioners in the world that are working with doTERRA only choose doTERRA, because they understand what that, the efficacy, but also the purity. And so they can be confident when they're recommending and using oils with their patients that they know what they're getting. And so that's really critical. Okay, so that is to lead into what we're on for our women's topics, and covering some of those things that are maybe unique to us as women, but also from an aging perspective, and some of the things we can do, like I said, to age gracefully. I want to start with self-care, because this is the place where I find, since I've found oils, that I've spent the most time really refining sort of my self-care routines, but also getting past the concept that self-care is a selfish action, right? And I recognize now that the more personal development and the more self-care that I do, I bring a much better version of me to work and to my family and to my community and to my friends, because I really then am at my best. And so having this sort of self-care routine, I think, is super critical for all of us, and especially I think for women who tend to get pulled in several directions. whether it be from, work and family and all of those other competing priorities. And so it's really important to create these self-care routines. And some of the things I like to do, and I've tried to start incorporating for myself, the gratitude journaling and positive affirmations. And I think that those are really, really important. And I think, we see so much of it on social media right now. And I just think it's important that when you take those in, that they have to resonate with you. So when I post those myself, I make sure that it's something that personally resonates with me, not something that I'm just sort of firing out there because that's the trendy thing to do. I think it's super important to have those affirmations, but I think they have to be personal as well. So, take in what makes sense and what resonates with you. Meditation. I have tried for the last few years to meditate, and I've recently just signed up to a course which I started yesterday. It's called the Ziva Meditation, and it's designed for busy people. It is, I'm not ever going to be a monk and working, and creating perfect silence in my environment so that I can meditate, for hours in this seriousness. And this meditation really works towards the everyday person who has a normal busy life, but understanding that because you have that normal busy life, you need to meditate to really be able to elevate your wellness. And they say that a good meditation, so being able to meditate those sort of 15 minutes in the morning and at night, meditation is 5 times deeper rest for your body than actual sleep. So you can imagine if you are getting, a half an hour, 20 minutes of meditation in a day, what that's doing to your overall wellness, because sleep's one of the most critical elements of our wellness. And so being able to incorporate meditation into that practice and in a practical way. So these meditations are, I said, not complicated. It's not designed to clear your head from all thought. It's meant to make sure that the thoughts in your mind are focused and that they're intentional, and that you then help, sort of end the meditation with a visualization and looking at how all of that plays into our success and our well-being. So if you've ever tried to meditate and failed, I would highly recommend maybe starting a program like this that really allows you to have some structure, and it builds gradually and explains all of the science and everything behind it, so that it sort of sets you up to create that sort of lifelong habit. So I'm committing to that, and you guys can all hold me accountable in the next few weeks and make sure that I'm sticking with it. So I'll report in next Tuesday how it's going. But so far these first few days have been great. So that's one really important one. Exercise is obviously the other one that's super critical. And again, just finding a way to incorporate that in your day that's consistent. So for me, it has to be in the morning. I get up at early enough that I can get in all of these things before I start work. And I do that because I know that the day is a slippery slope for me. Often the end of the day doesn't always end when I think it's going to. And I feel like I would always then put my exercise last, or I'd put it at risk for the sake of, a meeting runs late and then you got to get dinner. So the exercise in the middle is the thing that goes. And it's, again, so critical to your health and your well-being, and just even your cognitive function, to get that sort of physical release, right? There's all those chemical reactions that happen in your body with a physical exercise that gives you mental clarity as well. So really prioritizing that and figuring out how that fits into your day. Hydration. We always talk about hydration being key, and it's so good for especially our aging skin. If your skin is ever dry, a lot of the times what's happening on your skin is a reflection of what's happening inside your body. So making sure that you stay hydrated, especially in the morning. So I always try to front load my water consumption in the morning, because I know, again, through the day, if you get busy, you get sidetracked, you literally can have a glass of water on your desk that you just forget to drink, right? So you really need to, again, front load all of these things into your wellness routine so that it sets your day up for success. Greens, I love greens, but it's not always been the case. I find My palate has changed over the last few years, and I crave less things that are, super sweet. I love like dark chocolate. The darker the better, like no sugar kind of thing, where, a few years ago that wouldn't have been the case. And these are the sorts of things that, as you introduce things slowly into your diet, the other things start to fall away. So introducing greens into your diet doesn't mean that you don't get to have the other things. It just means try to add them in where you can, and then that sort of just will naturally push the other stuff out, because you can, usually only eat so much at a sitting. So instead of having, a huge plate of, potatoes and the meat and whatever, try to balance it with maybe more broccoli and a little less potato or whatever, right? And so it's about making those small shifts, but getting your greens in every day is really critical as well. Good mood oils. So we talked a little bit about the adaptive one, and this is sort of this anti-stress, anti-anxiety blend, but to be honest, I love this one just because it smells so good. And it's like lavender, wild orange, and sweet gum, and there's so many yummy oils in this blend. But even something as simple as the wild orange can be so uplifting to your mood. So again, just keeping your emotions in check, and using, leaning on your oils as a trigger for that. When you feel something coming on, have a go-to oil that always will make you happy or help you sort of manage and do a small reflection on the moment, and do a breathing exercise and have that oil with you. Again, just trying to bring balance and self-care into your day. Bath time. So again, baths are not something that I ever really thought were relevant, especially in the Caribbean. I thought it was too hot to fill up a tub full of hot water, when you can go to the sea. And the sea is lovely, very therapeutic for sure. But having a soaking tub is really detoxing as well. And you put some baking soda in there, some Epsom salts, which has a high concentration of magnesium, which is so good for you. And then some oils, frankincense, lavender, juniper berry, rosemary. There's so many great oils for using for detox. And that is just, again, maybe those, 5 or 10 minutes that you can sneak for yourself. Ideally, if you can get 20 minutes to soak in the tub, that would be great. But, take what you can get. And that is, again, that part of self-care that really will go a long way. And it's more than just the tub and all of the wonderful oils and everything in the water. It's about having that quiet time to yourself as well. Sometimes that's pretty rare, and but is so needed. Sleep, we talked about sleep, so getting the requisite sleep. And so if you are not sleeping well, trying to figure out what the root cause of that is. And is it, that your mind is racing? Is it that you have indigestion? Do you snore? Like what are the things that keep you awake, or that you maybe can help manage by using your oils? So every night before bed, we've got the diffusers going. My husband has Breathe, which is a respiratory blend on his side, which is great for opening up the airways. And on my side is Serenity, which is a sleep blend, and is just really soothing and calming. And so we'll have those going for the first few hours of rest. The great thing about the diffusers too is you can turn them on, and when they run out of water, they will shut themselves off. So you don't ever really have to worry about them, running on. They also tend to have timers on them. They're all a little bit different, but you can set it for 2 hours or 4 hours or however you want it to run. So that's really good to use. You can just put it on for a couple hours at bedtime, and it'll turn off when it's done. And then fun. Don't forget to have fun. Fun is really important to self-care. We are in a situation right now where getting together with friends is been a bit of a challenge, but make the most of it. I know a lot of people have been hopping on like virtual Zoom or Facebook FaceTime. Happy hours. And a few weeks ago I did a painting class with my team, and so we all kind of watched the video. We all had our paints at home, and we all hung out together on the call and just had fun painting for the afternoon, and having a glass of wine together, sort of thing, right? So there's lots of ways that we can still try to connect, and it's, again, super important to your mood and to your well-being. So make sure that you're putting fun into your day as well. Okay, so if we're looking at some of the other oils that are really supportive for us as women, there's actually a women's collection, and it comprises of three products. So the first one is this one, which is called the Bone Nutrient Complex, and so really high in vitamin D and biotin and calcium, magnesium, all the things we need, the things that we're usually deficient in, is an extra boost of those. And especially, again, as we age, they tend to be the things that we struggle to really get into our diets. And a lot of that, sometimes even if you have a really good diet, it's not enough. Supplementation is very necessary now because our food supply is so depleted of so many of the nutrients and things. We cover that in our healthy habits class when we talk about the food and the supplementation, but it really is important to supplement. And I said, especially for those things, vitamin D, even in the Caribbean, we have people low in vitamin D, even though we're getting, the sun all the time. And magnesium, again, is another one, and it's so critical. Magnesium controls so many of our bodily processes that being deficient in magnesium can have a gamut of impacts on your body. And that's, again, where you come back to looking at the source and the root cause of challenges. So going and making sure that your supplementation and your nutrition is at its optimum before then just trying, again, some over-the-counter remedy to sit on top of or band-aid what is actually something else, and which could be a deficiency in magnesium or deficiency in something else. So try the supplementation first before you go to something else. And I think 9 times out of 10 going to be in pretty good shape. So then there's the phytoestrogen, which I'm waiting for my next order to come in, which is hopefully any day now. But that is really it's a complex that helps with balancing our hormones, but it's all natural. There's nothing synthetic in it. So it's like pomegranate seed and green tea extract and a lot of those sort of superfoods in a complex to help us balance hormonally. And then we have Clary Calm, which is the roller ball that I love. It's this really nice blend, clary sage and Roman chamomile, ylang ylang, like this beautiful blend, and it's amazingly supportive for cramping and any sort of challenges that you may have through your cycle. My favorite sort of 1-2 punch, if you will, for any sort of cramping and that sort of thing is the Clary Calm roller over the tummy, and then Deep Blue on the back and on that sort of lower back area, and that is just really wonderful and supportive. And then again, getting your treating that from the inside out, right? So making sure your supplementation is there and that you've got all of those vitamins and minerals that you need to be able to support your body. What I like to also offer is some of the resources that I love for women's issues. So we have a doctor by the name of Dr. Marissa Snyder, and she focuses solely on women's health, mostly on hormones, and looks at everything from, thyroid conditions to, autoimmune disease, all of those things, and really with a focus on women. So she is also a doTERRA advocate, understands how the oils can support our bodies in so many ways. And so she has this amazing reference tool. So she has a book called The Hormone Solution, which is excellent. And also you can just visit her website, which is drmarissa.com. So, if you're looking for something specific, I'm happy to guide you through that or to any of those resources. But I love using Dr. Marissa as a reference for those sorts of women's issues, as well as Dr. Aviva Rom. So she's also she's a Western trained medical practitioner, so Harvard sort of educated, and then found her way into sort of the holistic natural medicine world, sort of out of, frustration really of seeing the way that Western medicine, again, creates sometimes those sort of band-aids, and looking for sort of more of those root cause solutions. And so she uses a lot of herbs as well, and sort of, again, more natural protocols to really try to get to the root of those challenges. So if there's something specific, again, those two are really a great, reference for those sorts of things. Now, when we look at other oils, so other sort of oils that we can use, Whisper, which I did not bring here with me, but is actually a women's blend, and it's a beautiful blend of patchouli and Hawaiian sandalwood, rose flower, vetiver, ylang-ylang. It has all these wonderful oils in it, and it works. So it's meant to be like a perfume, and I blend mine to make my own perfume. So I take the oil and I have a little spray bottle, and again, and I do this for a couple reasons. One, it smells amazing, but two, because again, traditional perfume tends to just be mostly fragrance, and I don't either want to be inhaling the fragrance, nor do I want to be putting it on my skin. So the Whisper blend is beautiful, and really, because we're all unique in terms of our chemistry, when you wear Whisper, it will have one scent, and where I wear Whisper, it'll smell slightly different. And so I love this blend, and what I do with it is I put it in a spray bottle, and I mix it also with a little bit of Citrus Bliss, which is this lovely sort of citrusy vanilla smell, and sandalwood, and I put a couple extra drops of those in there. And the base of a natural perfume is actually vodka. So use a high proof vodka, and anybody who knows me knows that I don't really drink much, and so the whole bottle of vodka that we have has been used to make homemade perfume. But yeah, so we have the Whisper blend, which is really nice, and there's so many of the oils that you can use topically for a perfume to avoid sort of those synthetic fragrances. And so one of the other, I think, yep, we covered that. And then the other one I wanted to talk about just briefly, again, was the turmeric. So for any sort of joint pain or any sort of arthritic pain, turmeric is going to be your go-to. And the unique thing about this turmeric, and I ended up with the empty bottle, but I'd show you the gel cap, is the unique blend of this as a botanical and an essential oil. So when I referred earlier again to the essential oil being those tiny distillation, tiny molecules that really can travel further in our bodies, they can go into the cells and help where sometimes herbs cannot. And the beautiful part about this turmeric is it blends both the curcumin and the turmerones. And sometimes some of the supplements on the shelf will only have one or the other, but both are necessary to have the right, as whole turmeric, it has both of those chemical constituents. And obviously consuming vast amounts of turmeric as a powder or as a spice is sometimes difficult. So being able to get it in a concentrated format, but having both of those elements present is the best way to take this. And so this one is a lifesaver for anybody who is struggling with any sort of, I said, joint pain, arthritic condition. Really great too, even if you are, say, training, for a marathon and you're maybe beating your body up a little bit more than usual. It can be really supportive through that process. But again, turmeric is anti-inflammatory, so even if there's something else going on internally that is an inflammation is the root cause of all disease. So when we talk about having a specific condition, it is an inflammation of a something. It's the inflammation within your liver, it's the inflammation in your joints. It could be an inflammation in so many different aspects of the body that because of those anti-inflammatory properties of turmeric, it has several applications, and it's one of those ones that you could take daily just to even maintain your health. So those were the things that I wanted to sort of cover for tonight's class. And I said I would really love to, assist if there's anything, you have any specific questions or anything that you want to talk about. And I think the next time I run this particular class, I might do it on a Zoom call so that we can actually have some dialogue around any specific conditions that people might have, and then we can sort of work to find the right resources and look for some of those more natural solutions to helping you achieve your best wellness. So again, if you don't have oils in your life and you're interested, message me. I'm happy to get you started. There's so many different ways to, again, incorporate them into everyday wellness, but for cooking and cleaning and you name it, the versatility is there. So happy to help you get started, and wishing everyone an enjoyable rest of your week, and be safe, be well, and we'll speak to you soon. Cheers.